So hi everybody and welcome. I'm Kirsten Winkler. I'm the founder of EDUKWEST, and as always we are on the search for better education. So I'm very happy to be joined by Abran Maldonado. I hope that's pronounced more or less correctly.
You got it.
And so he's the co-founder and president of a new edtech startup I find quite interesting, and they are called NuSkool. So welcome, Abran, to the program.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
So if somebody looks sort of at your background, and I don't want to say you are the only one having a non-traditional background and sort of then finding his or her way in education. For me, it has been a little bit similar. So, but let's say it's not the traditional entry from then high school, doing college, and so on. So you have actually started your professional career in the entertainment, specifically music industry, hip-hop.
Right.
And was that already connected to educating young people via this mean of music, or was it the aim or dream to become a professional artist and sell millions of records?
Absolutely. Well, to make a long-winded story short, I'll explain it from a couple angles. So one, I always believed, coming from the hip-hop generation and coming from hip-hop culture, that there was always an educational value to hip-hop. And people who are from the culture will tell you the same, and people who study hip-hop education research will explain to you that there are a lot of teaching moments that happen in the culture in itself with learning the talents and sharing those skills, whether it's breakdancing, rapping, DJing, or doing graffiti art. So my first passion was hip-hop. My first passion was working in the music industry, and I worked in many different roles, from artist management, music publishing, radio and marketing here in New York. Even managed my own professional career as an artist with the hip-hop group 9 Leaves, and came to a point where I started to meet more and more parents, more and more teachers who were disconnected from hip-hop culture, who were disconnected from pop culture in general. So I took it upon myself to create workshops to help educators and parents understand youth culture. And that was kind of the beginning of it. I worked in the music industry and also received the Gates Foundation's award called the Gates Millennium Scholars Award. So that really drove me to work in education in some capacity and not just pursue my own interests in my music career, but to give back in some kind of way to the community. So I did that by the public speaking and by the workshops that I created with an organization called Peace. I started a company called Peace that stood for Positive Entertainment and Creative Education, and toured many cities just discussing media literacy workshops, discussing youth culture and how to utilize that in the classroom, but also create dialogues at home to talk to your children about what was going on in society that they would see in entertainment and be unaware of. So we created those opportunities. And that grew into NuSkool because teachers started to demand this. I started to train myself in offering professional development workshops, arts enrichment workshops with the students, open dialogue with the PTA communities in each of the schools. And this started to reach beyond our capacity. And people from other states, as far as Hawaii and in Ireland, I was getting requests for this content that we were creating around pop culture and education. And the only way to do that was to scale it by creating an online platform, and that led us to NuSkool.
Interesting. So we could say those workshops where, or at least sort of started on a more personal level, you having the exchange with the teachers, maybe principals or parents on the other sort of side of the story. And was that what initially attracted the interest of the Gates Foundation, or did you approach them to sort of bring this on a more academic level? Or did you also want to pursue your own career more academically, so that this is sort of everything is well, I don't know, defined and under the rules, and that you were able to sort of do this in I don't want to say that the workshops were not professional, but they were maybe more with the background in music and pop culture and so on, and sort of having then or getting the entry really into the education world. Was that sort of challenging or difficult, or actually easy for you?
So the chronology to all this, maybe I should clarify that. In high school, I started a cultural dance club where I taught the entire school, or grades 7 through 12, how to break dance. So I started working in the community using hip hop as a teaching tool in my senior year in high school. By the freshman year of my college experience at St. John's University, the Gates Millennium Scholars program began. And the inaugural year, they were looking for people to nominate people who were working in the community as well as excelled academically. And I was nominated in my freshman year in college for the Gates Millennium Scholars Award. And that was a great opportunity. And essentially, they paid for all of your college education for life. So that's bachelor's, master's, and Ph.D. So the Gates Millennium Scholars Award allowed me to then pursue my master's at Teachers College at Columbia University. That's where I really dove head first into education and really started to gain the credibility, but also the understanding of how to utilize education in the classroom for entertainment purposes, using hip hop as an educational tool. But it did begun with the GMS program, fueling that passion in me to work beyond outside of entertainment. And it's been great since. You know, they've been a great resource. I've asked them for help with regards to, you know, how to attack education from my angle professionally. And they've been a great resource and giving some great advice.
Excellent. So then what is the importance of hip hop or pop culture? Is it really the connectiveness that teachers actually talk about topics students are interested in, or is it academically also worthwhile, valuable for other reasons? Share a little bit of your findings with us.
Sure. So what we find with hip-hop education particularly, that there's a lot of informal learning that occurs within hip-hop. And there's a lot of teachable moments and educational value that's actually more aligned to the 21st century skills that a lot of people are talking about right now. So the 4 C's. So there's a lot of communication and collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, obviously, within, you know, learning a new talent and learning an artistic-based talent. So a lot of people develop these skills outside of school, just engaging in their hip-hop community. So all of us who are part of the hip-hop community that were getting training in education, we're just trying to find ways to bridge the two. And trying to find ways of taking what's been valuable in hip-hop education and bringing that into the classroom. So that's just one world. The Games for Learning world and Games for Impact worlds is a whole nother aspect that had similar findings in their work, finding that students were developing amazing skills, spatial skills, communication skills, collaboration, a lot of these same 21st century skills in gaming worlds and online platforms. And they're trying to find also ways to bridge that and bring that into the classroom. So NuSkool try to find ways to engage with these communities to create a platform where you can find the teachable moments that exist already in students' lives and bring those into the classroom.
Exactly. That was sort of the short elevator pitch of what NuSkool aims at. And as you said, you, of course, you are the co-founder. And the motivation was really that the Peace for Youth project was not enough. You saw that there was the need, and as you said, you got requests from basically countries all over the world to see and find a way how to integrate this popular culture or these moments, you say the teachable moments, in a more rigorous and maybe traditional curriculum. Yes. So that mainly works then via curation. So you and your team, you sort the material, you find those elements, and then you pack them in lessons?
Yes. So in addition to curating a lot of internet content that's relevant to pop culture and education, we develop a lot of the content internally ourselves. I vet them personally. I go through every single lesson that we submit onto the site to make sure that it's academically rigorous. We have our team go through it to align possible Common Core standards if they apply to the lesson. And we found a way to create a centralized platform for anyone interested in hip-hop education, for anyone interested in games for learning education, and sports science, and anything that's relevant to youth culture and popular culture, and current events. That's a big, strong point right now for us is current events as well. As things happen in society, we respond to them to the week. And you don't find that with a lot of platforms that are able to churn out content as they happen. So obviously the most recent thing that happened out here on the East Coast was Hurricane Sandy. Mm-hmm. So after Hurricane Sandy happened, we had, a handful of lessons that responded to Hurricane Sandy and how to respond to Hurricane Sandy in your classroom for teachers. So a lot of teachers are interested in this kind of content and in this kind of space, but don't have the time, sometimes nor the training, to create this content themselves or curate it themselves. They just don't have the time. It's too daunting. So we do a lot of that heavy lifting for them and create the content in lesson modules and offer it on NuSkool.
Mm-hmm. Who do you target then? Is it really like public schools, or is it actually easier to get in charter schools, private schools, as they may be a little bit more flexible with their curriculum?
Sure.
And sort of the acceptance, I think many teachers are somewhat, they really want to cater content to students that relate to their lives. On the other hand, I can imagine that there's also some resistance from, on the one hand, some teachers, maybe also some parents who are sort of a little bit concerned with, I don't know, the language expressed, or even though that's obviously real life, but maybe they don't want that. So what are the emotions and reactions involved here in the process of finding new classes to try out NuSkool or even entire schools?
Well, the reason we made NuSkool a platform for teachers to be the end user instead of the students as the end user is because at the end of the day, we want the teacher to be the last say and the last vetter on the lesson, the gatekeeper, as we call it here. So if something they might feel is inappropriate, they're the ones that can decide whether it enters their classroom, not the student. And we want the teacher to decide how this best fits their classroom, regardless of what school you're in. We didn't make this just for public schools. We wanted this platform to be open for anyone that's working in a learning capacity with youth. So whether you're a public school teacher, charter school, after-school tutor, at-home instruction parent, or anyone that's a college counselor, anyone that's working with youth and wants to find a better way to engage them and create learning around what excites that child, NuSkool is that place. And we did align a lot of our content to the Common Core, but we don't want to make it exclusively Common Core because that's more of a public school initiative, and we want to be welcome and open to everyone else who teaches outside of the public sector.
So, Abran, I think you have had now roughly 1.5 years of experience with NuSkool, and sort of share what were the best practices or some of the findings. Who were the first adopters? Was it really like, as you are on the East Coast, therefore have your connections, obviously, is it still US-centered, or you said there were or have been inquiries from all over the world? Are you already operating internationally?
Sure. Well, for anyone that feels that westernized popular culture relates with their students and is relevant to their students, this is obviously a platform that could be useful for you. As far as creating content around international phenomenon, it's something that we've dabbled in, but we really haven't pushed in full force. For instance, we have lessons on size, Gangnam Style, and some of the Spanish music. But I think in phase 2 and maybe phase 3 of a platform, it might mean designating a database exclusive to particular regions. So it might have like euro.nuschool.com to have all Eurocentric content that's more relevant to popular culture out there, and maybe having the same for Latin America, and having subdomains that address those areas for those youth. But right now, it's all based on Western popular culture. So if anyone around the world feels like Western cultures influence their students, they can definitely go to NuSkool and find lessons to help them.
Sure, as soon as sort of growth and all the good signs are there, localization might definitely make sense. And we haven't talked about the monetary aspect. So how does it work? I think you are a subscription-based service, and in my article, I always find that having a business model is actually sort of a guarantee that a particular company or startup will be or is maybe more likely to be around in 2 or 3 years' time. So I think it's a good thing, actually. On the other hand, we have, of course, all the big discussions, not only in the States, but here in Europe, and I think probably on an international level, of budget cuts, or at least constraints, and managed schools are struggling. What's that like? As you said, you're targeting teachers. Do they have a budget, and or do you try, or do they maybe try to be your evangelists and convince their schools to purchase with NuSkool?
That's exactly what we're trying to do. I think we made this particularly direct to teacher for that reason. We make it direct to teacher to where they can sign up individually without needing their district's stamp on it or their school building stamp on it. I think the teachers being the evangelists for it will then attract the school districts and the school buildings. We do have group and bulk, building prices available for the districts who do want to purchase. But I think most importantly is getting the teacher first and making it accessible for them and cost effective for them. It's just right now it's a $10 a month subscription for unlimited access to all of the lessons on our database. Similar to, what they have with Netflix, a monthly subscription and as to any content that's on there, unlimited. So we didn't want to do any premium pricing or basic. It's just straight to the point, $9.99 a month. And we do have ideas beyond this to get away from charging at all for the platform. And that means, creating revenue opportunities to keep the lights on here for us, behind the scenes. And that way, it'll offset the burden that's on the teachers right now to pay for the content. But the teachers that we've been meeting want to pay for the content. They don't find $10 a month to be that daunting. And we've done our research on total teacher spending, and total it's about $1,000 a year combined. School provides them and what they use out of their own pocket. And we found that I think it's $200 a year that teachers spend out of pocket on lesson plans per year. And our total annual subscription, if you tallied up, is just about $119. So we didn't do anything that was beyond their parameters of what they were able to do.
Great. So then, sort of bringing this on a bit more abstract level, I guess we all get a good sense what 21st century education means for NuSkool, and also how to integrate this within the curriculum and implement this in schools. So, what is your mission, maybe on a more personal level? What is good, maybe more modern education, and what do you want to change in the years to come?
Well, I'm currently halfway through a Ph.D. right now at New York University in Steinhardt in the teaching and learning department. And before NuSkool kind of took off, I was just focusing on my dissertation work and coming up with a dissertation topic that I felt like was relevant and what I was passionate about. And then what it was based on was 21st century skills, but also informal learning from the world around you. And I think that really kind of seeped its way into NuSkool because our tagline now is real life learning. And I think eventually at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to create with NuSkool, and showing you all of the learning opportunities and the teachable moments that are there from the world around you. And it doesn't have to come just from traditional curriculum that's decided upon for bureaucratic reasons and delivered to a school that might not be relevant to your life beyond, high school. And I think that's a lot of people's concerns right now, and they're trying to play catch up with the STEM skills and focus on 21st century skills, is that what you learn from a traditional K-12 curriculum doesn't apply to the jobs of the future, to society moving forward, and how you need to use a lot of these other skills and pay attention to where the world that you live in more so than you have to what's in a textbook. And I think that's what we try and do at the end of the day with NuSkool. And our approach is using entertainment and popular culture from where the students are, because we wanted to start with the students' lives and what's important to them to create that everyday learning.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So then we are almost at the end of this year, 2012. And what is your focus besides obviously completing your PhD? Probably. What's up for NuSkool and your other projects in education?
Well, PhD is on hold right now until
I see. Makes sense. Yeah, it's
NuSkool
challenging.
Full-time right now. I'm done with the coursework with the PhD, so now it's just the dissertation proposal stage. So I'm trying to find a way to now align that with our mission in NuSkool to, as they say, kill two birds with one stone, where I could do my education and professional work in the same lane. I'm a parent. I'm an artist. I record music. But absolutely 100% my focus right now is NuSkool. We have great momentum right now. There's great people like you finding out about it that want to learn more. And my job full-time right now is to become that advocate for NuSkool, the spokesperson, the fundraiser, the manager, and, of course, the vetter at the end of the day. The most important thing right now is vetting those lessons and getting those lessons out. And we have, dozens and dozens of lessons each week entering our platform that need to go up onto the database. So right now, moving forward, we're having a new design out for the new year. So the site will have a new look starting in January, and we're well excited about that.
Great. And for people in the audience, may they be teachers, maybe investors, I don't know. So where can they find out more about NuSkool and sort of the various social media outlets, probably?
Sure. So you can go to NuSkool.com. It's www.nusskool.com to see the site. You can contact me directly at info@nusskool.com, and we respond to any requests that come in. If there's any teachers that want to contribute content, we do pay teachers for content. It's not a direct marketplace where they sell to other teachers. We pay for the lessons up front and post them onto the platform. So if there's any teachers that are interested, they can contact me. Any schools that want to use it and maybe want a guest account or a free trial, they can also contact me. Any request can go to info@nusskool.com. And you can follow us at NuSkool Official as well on Twitter.
Okay. That's great. Well, thank you, Abran, for taking the time, sharing your story. It was very nice to hear. And, good luck for the months to come and much success.
Thank you very much for having us. Happy holidays, everyone.